Hey there, it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, educates, and empowers you through life's transitions. And each week on this show, I bring on the coolest, most amazing, awesome CEOs, entrepreneurs, experts, authors, and truly life changers who've gone through their own transitions in life to reinvent themselves and have come out on the other side successful. And they come on this show to share their stories with us. And I am super excited about today's show because I have on a very special friend and guest whose name is Raj Jana. Hi, Raj. How are you?
Diane, how you doing? I am amazing. How are you? So excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you too. I'm doing great today. And I had the good fortune of being on Raj's show several months ago, and we had such a great conversation. I said, I need to have you on my show. And when you hear about him, who he is, what he's doing, you're going to understand why. And you're going to want to start following him and emulating some of the things that he's done in his life. Just a powerhouse, total powerhouse. So before I get into Raj's bio and our interview together, let me tell you what the theme of the show is this week. It is, you are the owner of your success. You've got to own your success, right? It's not up to anybody else. It's up to us. And Raj is a master at this. I can't wait for you to hear his story of like massive success. It's incredible. And then the intention statement is, if you're writing this down, we want to anchor it in this week, is I have today to be responsible for and own my success. And I love that because yes, you are responsible for it and yes, you own it. And a lot of people don't understand the ownership of it. Like it's okay to kind of brag and boast about, hey, yes, this is who I am. This is what I've done. And I'm owning it. I did this. Like shine like the bright star that you are in your life and let other people do it. Because when you do that, you give others permission to shine their light too. And that's what raises the consciousness and the vibration of this earthly experience we're having as humans, right? Is we really want to allow others to do that. So you've got to own it. All right. All right, so Raj, let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Okay.
Oh, no.
No, this is so good.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so Raj Jana is an entrepreneur and show host for Stay Grounded. He is also an impact-driven entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and media host who's passionate about using capitalism and business as a vehicle to make the world a brighter place. Love it. After his mentor died of a heart attack just 3 months short of retirement, Raj felt compelled to step up and do something meaningful to challenge conventional ways of thinking. Inspired to seize life for all it's worth, Raj founded JavaPresse, a lifestyle brand on a mission to transform ordinary coffee rituals into extraordinary daily experiences. Since launching in 2015, Raj has helped over 250,000 individuals use coffee as a vehicle to achieve more daily fulfillment, growing the company to 7 figures in less than 12 months while he worked a full-time corporate job. Can't wait to talk about this. His company and work has been endorsed by Damon John of Shark Tank and featured in Forbes, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Entrepreneur Magazine, and various other news outlets. At 27, Raj was 2019's youngest recipient of the Houston Business Journal's 40 Under 40 Award for his influence on local communities. Driven by impact, his company is an official partner of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Central and South Texas, and has donated over $50,000 to grant wishes to children with life-threatening diseases. He's also the founder of Stay Grounded, a weekly podcast, education platform, and social media movement. This platform has helped thousands of people in 60-plus countries realize and leverage the tools they already have to achieve more happiness, success, and fulfillment in daily life. Raj also writes about leadership, personal growth, and conscious capitalism in his own column for Inc. magazine, Stay Grounded in Business. Wow, Raj. I mean, you are so accomplished, incredible, such a young man. So I am so happy to have you on here, and we're just going to have an amazing conversation about all of this. So,
I
all
really
right,
appreciate it, Diane. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
let's do it, baby. Okay, so what I want you to share with the audience and us is, I mean, I just read your bio, but a little bit more in depth of the story. Where were you working in corporate America at the time that you had this like transformational moment and light bulb experience?
Yeah, sure. So I used to be a petroleum engineer in my previous life, which sounds weird to say because that was not that long ago. But yes, I graduated college with a petroleum engineering degree, started working for a big oil company out in Louisiana. And I did well. I made a lot of money right out of school. I was honestly, by society standards, I'd made it. My parents thought I'd made it. There was really no um, but there was no need to go and do more. But for some reason, I started working and I just wasn't happy. I was in a long distance relationship. I was in a lot of student debt. I had parents that I was supporting, and so I think in all, I just wasn't fulfilled and happy. And so I'd already kind of started looking for other options on the side. I was teaching myself business. I was buying courses, reading books, listening to podcasts, and trying to elevate or find a spark of inspiration or a plan to do something different along the way. And that's when, while I was starting these things and I'd launched JavaPresse September 2015 as just a side hustle, nothing big. It was just a way for me to make a little extra money on the side that might potentially end up as something that led to a fulfilling career later. I really hadn't even thought about that. And then about 3 months after launching, I had my mentor, Jerry Markowitz, who was a geologist at Chevron, which was the company I worked at. And we were cube mates. You know, the man worked 37 years at the same company, lived in the same part of South Louisiana for his entire life, same jobs. Really sort of like he was what we used to call people at the company lifers. You know, they started with the same company. They were going to end with the same company. And he was on that path. He had worked diligently, did everything he was told, and very, very, very productive. He was a great employee and a great friend. He was one of my first mentors. He kind of taught me how to be in corporate and kind of how to play the game and how to just be and do well in this rigged system. And 3 months before retirement, you know, he was always talking about everything he wanted to do. He was getting a little antsy about finally getting to go on these trips and these excursions. His wife had just retired a week before. And I just remember him being fine. It's like finally my turn to start living and being and having. And one day I came into work. I got an email from my boss, and you know, she mentioned, "Sorry to say this, but Jerry Markowitz had a heart attack last night, and he died."
Wow.
And just dropped dead 3 months before retirement. Left all of his passion projects. His wife, who had just retired, and it didn't really sink in until his wife came in the next week to clean out his cubicle, and I was his cubicle mate. And I'm like looking at her with this box, and she's going through his stuff, and I just felt like she was learning something new about him with everything she picked up. It's like, oh, I didn't know Jerry had this. I didn't know this was there. And you could just see I mean, it's you know, I was 2016. What was that? I want to say I was 23 or 24 at the time. And
Yes.
you know, just out of school and kind of going through a bit of a quarter life crisis myself of not really wanting to be an engineer and not realizing. And so all of that. And then I started thinking about my dad and all the people in my life who were buying into this idea that you can wait to be happy. You can wait to get the things you want. If you just do what you're told, everything will work itself out. You know, I was looking around me and everybody was doing this. And my dad came to the US with $60 in his pocket, you know, classic immigrant story, worked his entire life, never did anything for himself, sacrificed his own happiness and passions and to provide for his family. the idea of something like what happened to Jerry happening to my dad or my friends or anybody that I cared about really kind of lit the fire that
Yes.
was already, or the fire was already there, but it fanned the flames like crazy.
Yeah.
And it kind of reinvigorated my own purpose. And, I didn't care how I was going to be successful. I was just going to do it. It didn't
Yes.
matter what it was going to take. And that started the journey. And I started waking up at 5 a.m. To invest in personal development and read books and build my mindset and grow and practice marketing skills. Then I go to work at 7 a.m. and then I would work until 11, work out from 11 to 12 and eat lunch. And then I'd go back to work and then I'd get right back home and I'd get back to work. And I did that for 7, 8 months every single day. And the company ended up growing exponentially. I mean, we hit our first 6-figure month within 8 months of that event. And it was just this constant. To be honest, I didn't really know why I was working so hard.
You just had the drive.
I was just working. I was just like, I don't care how this is going to happen. I'm just going to do it. I had this spark and this fire, and it's kind of interesting. Like now looking back on it in hindsight, one event sparked a pretty honestly years of momentum for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the habits came along and that allowed the momentum to stay. But when I had, gotten to that point where we were finally being successful, I didn't know how to start living life. I just kept wanting
Mm-hmm.
to work because that's all I knew how to do. And that's all this channeled energy was allowing me to do. It was just allowing me to work, 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 work. And it wasn't until I met a mentor who made me realize that business is supposed to be more than just work, 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 work. Life is supposed to be more than just work, 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 work. Your business is supposed to be an extension of your life. That I started asking myself bigger questions and looking at, the role Jerry had in my life. And that's how Stay Grounded was born. Stay Grounded started as just that, me reminding myself of this idea that you don't have to wait until tomorrow to live. You don't have to wait until you have success to live. You don't have to wait until someone gives you permission to live. It's a choice. It's a
Yeah.
set of choices that you can make every day. It's the habits you build. It's the way you act, show up, and who you become in the process of all of it. And I think that's been a defining role in my life. And I have Jerry to thank for that.
Yes, that so well said. So many things, and obviously you and I align on so many things. It's so funny that you said you don't need to wait for someone to give you permission to do this, because we just created a program called the Happiness Formula, and that is one of the key things in there, that people do think that they need permission to pursue a life that they love and their dreams, whatever that looks like for you, and you don't. And there's that part of so many people where they feel like they've got this need to please others, and that is always a recipe for letting you down in that process. So I love that you did that, and the way you did it, and you this happens, and I just share this with you before we went live. Just this morning, leaving my apartment, coming here to the studio, I witnessed my neighbor's girlfriend in her 50s. She passed away last night suddenly of a heart attack, and I saw the gurney come out, and it shook me to the core. And I have today is all about that too. Like, it's truly all we have. What are you waiting for? If you've got goals, dreams, desires, you're not happy, you're living a life where it's ho-humming along, and nothing was necessarily wrong with your career and what you were doing. You just knew that you weren't happy with it, right? And so many people live in that, with that mediocrity attitude, but yet they're not fulfilled. There's not that passion, and it's our responsibility, and we have to take ownership of it, like you did, to do everything you can to find that, figure it out, pursue it, make it happen in your life.
I think it's interesting as you say that. I think the reason most people stay stuck is not because they don't have the answers. I think it's because they don't believe they have the answers. So, like courage is one of those things that is, it's inside everybody. It's just not unlocked. Courage and confidence, those two things. And, because even me, like after I started changing my life, like it took me changing my life over a long period of time and people seeing that manifest into, oh, wow, he made a career transition and he didn't actually fall on his face, or he didn't actually, like he actually made it. Or look, this person made the decision to go to the gym and get in shape and they finally got in shape. I think when people see other people shine, going back to what you said in the beginning of the episode, which I loved, when you shine and you own your success and you believe that, it comes back to giving other people the permission to shine. And I think that's what's missing. It's the courage, but you don't need to see other people to shine to have the courage to take your first step. One of my really good friends, she actually shared this quote with me the other day and I loved it. It was, dream bigger than you've ever dreamed before, but act smaller than you've ever acted. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to have the courage to take the first baby step, which then builds the confidence, and take another baby step. And then your baby steps start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually your baby steps look like giant steps to someone else.
Yes.
And I think that's really how it started for me. I didn't become this overnight. It might seem like that because the time scale of 12 months seems like, oh, wow, this guy did it overnight. No, it started with every single day, every morning and every evening, just doing my best. And then eventually my best got better. And then eventually it just, you build this momentum train that just doesn't stop.
Right. And I love that because I share that philosophy with you as well. It's the success, change happens in a moment. The moment you decide to make a change, that's when it happens. That's a decision. But what keeps the growth and the change is belief and then momentum. You've got to believe in yourself and in it, and you've got to do, that daily actions, consistent actions, movement in that forward momentum to keep that progress going. That's why you scaled so fast and were so successful, because you were in it every day. That was those habit muscles that you developed. And that's where people flounder and fall is in the inconsistency. And you gotta keep the momentum going.
It's cool because momentum is a fun thing to do, because when you think about momentum, it's not just the action you take, it's also the way you feel about the actions you take, right? Like, I'm not going to go to the gym if I just need to get in shape for something to look good in public, because that's not necessarily close to my heart. That's close to my fear of looking fat or not being capable or something like that. So I think there's two parts. There's the habit, the consistency, and the implementation of that. But then you have to couple that with like just knowing why you're doing everything. And it goes back to your message, being intentional, right? Like when you're intentional about why you're working out, or when you're intentional about why you're waking up early to work on this business, or when you're intentional about why you want to spend more time with a certain type of person, now all of a sudden you're attaching this emotional response, this why, this feeling, which is your why is close to your heart, right? I mean, fear is a whole nother conversation. We can probably do a whole nother conversation on fear,
We could.
right? But purpose and why, intention is the gateway from purpose and why to momentum.
Yes.
You can't get into momentum unless you have that fuel. I accidentally got that fuel from Jerry. I didn't realize I was getting it at the time. Looking back on my life now, I'm seeing that one cataclysmic event like that created this massive train of meaning in my life, of me seeing life through a lens that was so different than what I'd been seeing life through before. And I don't think you can be in momentum without having both those pieces. I think you need to have the purpose, the intention, the why. And then when you combine that with what the heck you're doing in front of you, you create something that I don't think can be stopped.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience. And I think that and all of this is in hindsight. I didn't know this in the moment.
Right. Of course not. We can only connect the dots going back. We can't connect.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So if there's viewers or listeners out there who are in that space where you were, maybe they didn't have that experience to just kind of that wake up call, for lack of a better expression. But they know they're not happy. Because this is a lot of who I talk to because there are people who have had very traumatic things happen in their life. And I coach a lot of mostly women, but who have suffered from PTSD and a lot of other things. And however, there's a massive segment that I coach and help of they're just feeling stuck and just not happy. And they don't, they're in this phase of their lives where it's been chugging along, and they're feeling like, oh my God, because you're a young man, but they're feeling like my life is ticking along here. And when am I going to decide that my happiness and joy and fulfillment come above everything else? Like, what would you say somebody should do first?
One, I think there's a couple things. I think that putting your happiness, fulfillment, joy first is almost like a responsibility if you believe you're somebody awesome. Like if you are a mom, or if you are taking care of people, or if you're somebody who other people rely on, you have to fill your own tank first.
Yeah.
A Ferrari cannot be it's not a Ferrari if there's no gas in it. Like it doesn't make sense. You can be the most amazing vehicle on the planet, but if you don't take care of the car, it's going to break down.
Yeah.
So I think there's two components. One's a daily practice. I have a daily practice in my life. I start every morning with gratitude. I write down 3 to 10 things depending on my morning. Minimum. It doesn't matter if I'm in the worst mood. If I wake up in a funk, I wake up and I write down at least 3 things I am massively grateful for, or one thing I'm massively grateful for and 3 reasons why. So I can connect back to that why and that purpose.
Yep.
And then I sandwich that. I do the same thing when I go to bed. And so no matter what, I'm starting and ending my day with gratitude. And gratitude is this amazing thing where you can't feel any of these other emotions when you're grateful. You can't be angry when you're grateful. You can't sulk when you're grateful. You can't feel those because ultimately it takes you out of your head and into your heart. And when you're in your heart, you're constantly just connected to whatever's in front of you. So I think a daily practice is really important, and it's a muscle over time. You're not going to get yourself out of this place of feeling stuck immediately, but you will get there the more you practice. And the more you start putting yourself first on a daily basis, that then builds the courage. Like we talked about earlier, you dream bigger than you've ever dreamed, but take smaller steps than you've ever have. When you start doing the small things like practicing gratitude or making time for yourself in the mornings before the chaos begins, to just do something that fills your own cup up, you slowly but surely start to tell yourself, hey, I am important.
Yeah.
I am worth this. I do get to make a few moments. I don't have to make an hour. I don't have to make a life, but I can make a few moments every day. And when you do that over time, you create the confidence to then say, hey, if I can make a few moments, why can't I make an hour? Why can't I go on this trip or invest in this coach or go to that event or do that thing that I've been putting off for ages? Why not me? I think it all starts with just how you speak to yourself and how you treat yourself every single day.
Yes. Beautifully said. You just sparked something in me that I feel like I want to say to the audience out there, because people don't feel like they're worthy, so they don't invest in themselves. They worry about paying the bills and all of that. And yeah, we all have those responsibilities, but they don't invest in themselves. And I know you know this just as much as I do. There is no greater investment in this world than you. And even if it's by, like you said, following you on social media, listening to your podcast, listening to mine, reading a book, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. It doesn't have to be, expensive or anything, but creating that opportunity to really value your worth, and honor you. And you're right, starts daily habits and practices, and your daily gratitude, bookending your day like that is a great way to start, because there is always something to be grateful for, even if it's the breath in your lungs and the fact that you can turn on a water faucet and get water, where so many people in the world can't even do that, right?
It's So I heard this, I had a guy on my podcast recently, a guy named Adam Roa, who made a video. And in the video, he mentioned something that kind of really struck with me. I think it might help your audience too. When you start to think about self-care, right? Most people, you said to yourself, we don't invest in ourselves. We don't take care of ourselves because we don't feel we are worthy, right? What if you flip the switch and you found a son or a sister or a daughter? Like, how would you speak to them?
Mhm.
Would you encourage them to take care of themselves? Would you encourage them to invest in their dreams, to go after what they want? And I think it's so much easier for people to support, give inspiration, and love others than it is ourselves. But why can't we treat ourselves like someone you love?
Right.
If you started treating yourself like someone you loved, then you start to realize that, that starts the journey, and it starts this reason to love. Because when you treat somebody with positivity, with when you shower them with inspiration, when you shower them with love and fulfillment, they end up shining. Like,
Yep.
kids are a perfect example of this. When you support kids, I mentor a lot of kids, and we work with Make-A-Wish, and I see this. Make-A-Wish is actually the perfect example. When we grant wishes, the reason why we grant wishes is because I've seen this, and we actually had a few kids go into remission as a result of them experiencing so much positivity, so much love and abundance, and just happiness from an external source. And so when you start to see the power that has on somebody else, like, it's amazing to me that, and maybe we just need the push. And if this podcast episode is that push for you, if you're listening and you haven't been taking the time to fill your cup up, I hope that this is the message you needed to hear, to just start. And it doesn't have to be big. It can
Right.
just be something small, even like if you're going to a coffee shop, getting yourself a pack of gum with it, or spending a little bit on yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. Just take small actions to just
Yep.
show yourself and treat yourself like somebody you love. And
Yes.
I think that just goes a long way over time.
Treat yourself like someone you love. That's so powerful. I love that. We're going to have to put that quote in the show for sure. So, for you, we'll talk a little bit. Actually, can you just, I want to sidestep a little. Tell
Yeah.
everybody what JavaPresse is in case they don't know.
Yeah. So JavaPresse is, we're a coffee company. We create products, we roast coffee, and we create all sorts of content that helps people transform an ordinary coffee ritual into an intentional and extraordinary daily experience. We essentially infuse intention into the coffee experience. So everything from the way the coffee smells, to the positive letters and the notes that we include with every bean, to the stories of the farmers that we share, to the fact that all of our products are manual and they force you to use your hands, so you have to pay attention to the process. Everything in our company is really designed to infuse more intention. And the vision behind it was, when I worked full time and I started the company after Jerry passed, I realized that I couldn't convince my friends, my family, my loved ones, my colleagues to empty out their 401ks and go buy their dream cars, or quit their jobs and finally do something big with their life. I couldn't tell people to do that. But what I could do was show them how that they could transform something so ordinary, something so simple in their day, into a gateway for more meaning and fulfillment. And if I could show people how to do that with something as simple as a cup of coffee, something as random as a cup of coffee, then that just opens up a gateway for them to infuse gratitude, mindfulness, attention to detail, intention into everything else in their lives. And that really is the goal of the company. That's why we do what we do. Everything from the customer service to the team. I mean, we're all unified and driven to help people experience more fulfillment through the things that are so simple and so small in our lives. Because I do think that we focus too much on the big. We look at everyone else's highlight reels on social media. We look at everybody else doing big things with their lives, and we forget the power that we all have to just wake up every single day and infuse meaning, passion, purpose into something as simple as a cup of coffee.
Right, right. Beautiful way to start the day. What a beautiful ritual. I love the intention behind all of it. It's fantastic. So, all right. Well, I mean, I could talk to you all day.
I'm down. Diane, I'm down. Let's do it.
I know we have so much fun together. So, all right. So what's going on with you and what's next for you and how can people follow you and be supported and guided by you? And
Yeah. I run the Stay Grounded podcast, and if you're listening to this and you love Diane, check out her episode. It was super fun. Went down a lot of different interesting rabbit holes. So it's a great place to learn more about the show, myself, and just see Diane in a whole new light. And so the podcast that's one place to do it. We have a community that I'm constantly creating new challenges inside and just more content. I mean, my goal is, again, to help you leverage and realize who you actually are and how you can infuse that into more meaning. And so you can go to rajjana.com/stay grounded. I'm on social media. I'm all over the place. I'm on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. So if you're on Instagram, you can check out our videos and however you want. Like I said, if you take anything from this episode, just make a decision to do something kind for yourself. Just make the decision to take that first baby step in whatever it is. And if this episode did that, then you can find more and whatever you choose to do next. I think that I'm just grateful to be here and a chance to.
Well, Raj, you sure are the owner of your success and you shine your light so bright. I'm so honored to be in this space with you and on this journey with you. And we've we're ordinary people doing extraordinary things, right? And isn't that the way it should be? So, well, we're going to have links for all of Raj's information in the comments section, so you can find out more about him and follow him. And I'm just so honored to have you here. And we're going to continue conversations. I'd love to have you back on the show. If you're ever in San Diego, I'd love to have you in the studio. We've got plans going here. So, and any way I can support you, you know that I'm happy to do that. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate
it's all about that collaboration and support and community. So, all right. Well, don't forget that our intention statement for this week was, I have today to be responsible for and own my success. And you're a shining example of that, Raj. So it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to find out more information about me, you can go to dianeforster.com, go to my website, and on social media, it's Diane Forster Official. Or on YouTube and iTunes, it's I Have Today with Diane Forster. So make sure that you subscribe, rate, and review. It means the world to me for you to do that. And if you heard something today or saw something today that inspired you, don't keep it a secret. Spread the word, pass it around, have it touch somebody else's life as well. So, all right. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you again, Raj, for being here. And we'll see you next time at I Have Today. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.